Thank you so much for watching Landumc Goes There. Please subscribe and hit the like button and the bell notification button. Kojak is an American action crime drama television series that starred Telly Savalas as the title character, that being New York City Police Department Detective Lieutenant Theo Kojak. The series was created by Abby Mann, an Academy Award-winning film writer best known for his work on drama anthologies such as Robert Montgomery Presents and Playhouse 90. Universal Television approached him to do a story based on the 1963 Wiley Hoffert murders, which was a brutal rape and murder of two young professional women that happened in Manhattan. The crimes of that case were pinned on a young African-American man named George Whitmore, Jr., who had been arrested on a separate assault charge. After illegally obtaining a confession, the police had the suspect all but convicted until a second investigation by a different team of detectives exonerated the suspect and identified the real killer, that being Richard Robles, who was convicted in 1965 and sentenced to life in prison. Mann developed this project as a gritty police procedural. The result was a 1973 made-for-TV movie called The Marcus Nelson Murders. Telly Savalas starred in this TV movie, whose last name was spelled Kojak, K-O-J-A-C-K. The film served as the pilot for the Kojak television series, with the spelling of the last name being K-O-J-A-K. Now, the one thing we do know about Kojak is that Telly Savalas was the absolute king of cool. He's widely remembered for this role as the bald, lollipop-sucking cop named Kojak. But this Greek-American icon had a far more fascinating life beyond his detective years. Before getting into acting and actually being in front of the camera, he worked as a director and a producer at ABC, and he ended up giving Howard Cosell his very first job in television. This happened while he was overseeing the Gillette Cavalcade of Sports, where he gave the legendary broadcaster his first gig on the small screen. He first shaved his head for the role of Pontius Pilate and decided to keep that look. In 1965, he was cast as the bad guy in the motion picture telling of the Jesus story. He was asked to shave his head for that role, and he loved the look, so he just decided to keep it, proving that bald is beautiful. The very first lollipop-sucking episode is one called Dark Sunday, where he's asked by another detective, "Hey, what's up with the lollipop?" He jokes that it's closing the generation gap. In reality, though, it was a replacement for cigarettes. Yvonne Craig, who is Batgirl, also appeared in this outing that aired in December of 1973. And it was also the first episode to show the World Trade Center, which had opened that same year. Telly's brother George was also on the series too. His younger brother played a sergeant on the series. His spoken word recording that was the cover of a Bread song topped the charts in the UK. He actually released 5 studio albums in his career between 1972 and 1980. If, a popular song by Bread, was his third outing, and it saw the actor sensually reciting the lyrics to Bread's 1971 hit over easy listening music. It completely flopped in the U.S., but took the #1 position on British pop charts for 2 weeks in March of 1975. He's also Jennifer Aniston's godfather. The Friends actress's father, John Aniston, who is a Greek himself, was a very close friend of Telly's, and upon her birth, he became a shoo-in for the role of godfather to the popular actress. Although it's stated numerous times that Kojak is of Greek heritage in the series, the name Kojak is actually of Polish origin. Kojak's heritage was changed to Greek in order to match Telly Savalas's real Greek heritage. Telly had spent much of his time in his acting career playing villains before he was cast in this role as Kojak, and he was 51 years old when the show started. At the time when the production was put into motion, he was living in Universal City, California. Most of the series was produced and filmed primarily in New York City, New York. Throughout the entire making of the program, he would travel back and forth from New York to California every weekend and every time he had a break to be with his family. Throughout the 5-year run of the program, numerous guest stars known for their wacky comedy roles in the 1960s appear in much grimmer, grittier roles as a stark contrast to what people are usually seeing them cast as. The most compelling of these is Tina Louise from Gilligan's Island. She plays a strung-out heroin junkie in Season 1. Others included Yvonne Craig, who was Batgirl in the Batman TV series. She plays a murderous felon's girlfriend and accomplice. Now, Telly Savalas was a popular film star that had numerous credits prior to this series coming out. But one of the things that shot him to the top of Hollywood royalty as far as episodic television was concerned was the time when he was cast in The Twilight Zone in an episode called Living Doll. That was the 126th episode of that anthology series. In this episode, a dysfunctional family and the problems they have are made much worse when a child's doll takes on a life of its own, with Telly Savalas being the receiver of most of its antics. This is a great episode. If you've never seen it, do yourself a favor and go back and watch it. It's one of the best in the series, and it put Telly Savalas in a category that moved him up the chain in Hollywood. Go back and watch some episodes of Kojak. They're always a fun watch. And while you're at it, check out the Twilight Zone episode that starred Telly as the evil stepdad. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll continue to chase the classics.